Shalom. First and foremost, before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations and blessings to you, Akim, that do this work in truth and in sincerity. And the topic that I want to get into is basically cannibalism and how, cannibalism is going to be, cannibalism is going to be, on the minds of, these people, here in Babylon the Great, and people will resort, to having to eat each other because a lack of resources or because of, an influx of prices, price hikes, hyperinflation, really it's going to be a combination of both. And it's not only going to be a combination of high prices for food, but people are going to ultimately resort to having to raid these different stores, of foods and different things, because we got to remember that in Second Ezra it speaks about that the people shall not regard their kings or princes. So it's going to come to a point to where it's going to be difficult to be able to buy food, but it's also going to get to a point to where people are no longer going to be holding back, because they went so long without even having to have anything to eat, to where they just going to do whatever it takes to get whatever they have to get, even if that means breaking into one another's houses as well, which is also spoke about in Second Ezra. Matter of fact, let me just get to it real quick. Let me get to that scripture real quick here. This is Second Ezra chapter 15. 16. Second Ezra chapter 15 verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So, when that inflation starts to hit, of course, I believe people are going to, it's still going to be some type of order, but that order can only sustain and last for so long, because like the elder says, he likes to make this quote by this guy Salente, I believe it is. It says, when people have nothing to lose, they lose it. So basically, because when these people have nothing, or when people have nothing, that's whenever they're going to do whatever it takes to be able to get whatever they need to get. And that's why in the scripture right here, verse 16, it says, for there should be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So they're not going to be regarding, the police officers, the squad, or whatever type of law enforcement or military that they're going to have out here, which ultimately, that's what's going to happen, is that they're going to try to get the people, in control, by having these different troops out here, under the statute of martial law and these other executive orders that they have set in place for, their agenda, where they know that people are going to go, basically haywire. They have these executive orders set in place, for the people. It says, a man shall desire to go into the city and shall not be able, For because of their pride, their cities shall be troubled, their houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. All right, so, you know, men are going to be afraid to go into the city because, all right, the city is withholds, all right, the medicines, all right, the food, all right, the first aids, the everything that they need, all right, supplies, tools, different things, you know, that they may need, all right, to maybe fix a vehicle, all right, because they're going to not only be, you know, raiding these, stores of food and resources, but, you know, these automotive stores, I mean, all of these things are going to be raided, and the things that they need, all right, they're going to be taking those things for resources, so they'll be able to, you know, use those things, maybe fix a vehicle, you know. A great example, all right, is The Walking Dead, you know, where, you know, people make bargains and trades for, you know, generators or different, like all of these things are going to play a factor. So, you know, these different tools that they need to be able to construct these different devices to, I don't know, make energy, you know, keep their car running, or whatever the case may be, batteries, you know, it's just going to be basically, all right, the wild, wild west out here, man. All right. It's going to get real crazy. It's going to be like, you know, The Last of Us, you know, which was one of my favorite shows. Not only my favorite show, but before it was a show, it was actually a game, and a great game at that. But you know, in the game, you know, it shows how people, all right, get together, all right, in these groups to where they are trying to survive, all right, trying to thrive, all right. People, you know, come up and make their own fractions and groups and whatever you want to call it, okay, in hopes that they can prolong their survival, okay. But you know, the problem with that is that you really don't know what's the intention of those who are around you. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of backstabbing, a lot of killing, a lot of murdering, a lot of, you know, a lot of people that are weak, all right, in that day are going to get killed and taken advantage of, unalived. And they're going to end up on the skewer, you know, because, you know, revolving back to what was the title of the lesson, reverting back to the title of the lesson, which is cannibalism. You know, and that these people are going to be eating each other. But just going into a few things of what is going to be the situation out here. All right, it says, verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods, their food. All right, it's going to be very scarce out here on food and supplies and different these different things that I listed. All right, these different things that are necessities when you watch these different type of movies and TV series, man. All right, those things are going to be delicacies in those days because of their lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right, so men are not going to have pity on each other. All right, so much pity, so much no pity is that they're going to be eating each other. All right, so let's go here. All right, because history is doing nothing but repeating itself. All right, and with these terrorists being implemented, okay, and if they don't come to a bargain, then, you know, J.P. Morgan already then said that America has a between 60 and 80% chance of a recession this year, man. All right, in 2025. So Not only that, but gold and silver has also went up, which is diminishing the dollar even further. You know, so it's like America's basically self-inflicting its own wound, man. You know, it's self-inflicted, a wound upon itself. All right, because of its pride. All right, so, but that's gonna be the downfall. That's gonna be to the downfall of this place. So let's go here to Revelation chapter 6, verse 6, and it says, "And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts saying, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." So it says, I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts saying, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. So let's go into the blue letter real quick, and let's get in the NLT. Just bear with me for a second. All right. All right. So this is Revelation 6 and 6, and it says, I heard a voice from among the 4 living beings saying, a loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. All right. So a day's pay for bread. All right. A day's pay for bread, eggs, milk, these different things. All right. And that's just the simple, poor man meals that people tend to go to for being able, to push on and survive. This is not even meat or, turkey, chicken, or those different type of things, man. Those are going to probably be even more higher. All right. Meat is already expensive as it is, so imagine how much beef is going to be in that day. All right. Chicken. All right. Turkey. All right. Lamb, or whatever the case may be. These lawful foods that we need to eat. All right. Fish. All right. All of these things are going to go up in the price. And it says it's going to cost you a day's wage. Okay. So yeah, man, that's critical. Okay. So let's go back here. All right. Let's go here to, all right, Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 9. All right, because this is basically going to the siege, all right, of Jerusalem. All right. And the exact same thing, all right, that's happening here is going to happen here in this scripture right here is going to be happening again. All right, time is repeating itself. History is repeating itself. All right. So this is Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 9. It says, take thy also unto thee wheat and barley and beans and lentils and mullet and finches, and put them in one vessel, and make thee bread thereof, according to the number of the days that thou shalt lie upon thy side. 390 days shalt thou eat thereof, and thy meats which thou shalt eat shall be weighed 20 shekels in a day. For time to time shalt thou eat it. Thou shalt drink also water by measure, and 6 part of an hin for time to time shalt thou drink. So it's going to get so dire out here to the point to where people are going to have to actually, consider how much they're actually eating. All right. Because now people are just gluttonous. All right. I went into, that a few lessons ago, going into health, and how, Americans, You know, they're overeaters, man. You know, they eat more than what they're supposed to. All right, they eat basically, you know, a portion that can feed, you know, 4 or 5 people. All right, I mean, just sit up there with a big plate of food. So it's gonna come a time like here where they're gonna have to proportion themselves forcefully. It's gonna be proportioned. All right, because uh, the food is gonna be scarce. So they're gonna have to take. They're gonna have to actually save. All right, and consider how much food they're consuming, and ration and save what they do have. You know, to help to make it stretch. Okay. Matter of fact, in Venezuela, it got so bad out there, okay, to where these particular restaurants, where, you know, restaurants would throw away the foods, the bones, and different things like that. And what they would do is they would go to the trash can, and they would, you know, pick apart the meat. Okay, they would wash it, and then they would recook it. All right, that's coming here, and it may even be so bad to where, you know, you may not even be able to do that. All right, so it's gonna be very, very bad, man. You know, like the scripture say, like a time that has never been before. All right, people are gonna really be stricken with hunger, man. All right, and that's a bad way to go out. To having to basically starve to death, your body basically eating itself alive. You know, all those people that are 500, 600 pounds, you know, they may be able to last a little bit longer because, you know, their body ultimately gonna, you know, be eating all that fat. But once that fat is gone, all right, they're just gonna wither away, man. You know, a lot of these people, again, are going to be forced to be put on a fast. You know, majority of Americans don't even know, you know, really what a fast is. You know, an actual real fast is to, you know, sustain from drinking water and eating food. You know, just a complete dry fast. That's what you call a real fast. But you know, people are not willing to do that. I remember I had a conversation with a Jake. He was like, you know, I'm able to do it. I'm able to do a water fast, but man, a dry fast, I can't. I can barely do it, man. He said about the 12 hours in, he can't do it, man. But I'm telling him, hey, man, that's where it's at. You know, 24 hours. You know, two days. Okay, a day and a half if you can. You know, that's even better. You know, you teaching your body, getting your body prepared. All right, to be able to, you know, withstand. All right, you know, without having to go without some food or not, man. All right, because you never know. The Lord, you know, might make us not go without food for a few days just to test our faith. All right, so. You know, you got to consider that might be on the table for some of us. But the Lord's still going to take care of us, Lord willing, if we be of that number and of his elect, than the ones that he cares for and loves. So we just got to consider that as a possibility that we may, you know, face, you know, being tested. All right. So let's go here to Ezekiel chapter 7 verse 15. The sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. He that is in the field shall die with the sword. All right, so those that are in the field, all right, they're gonna die with the sword. All right, because a lot of people, you know, they're gonna run, all right, to these they're gonna run to the woods. All right, a lot of them are gonna get killed off there too, because that's where the majority of a lot of people are gonna go. All right, and it says, he that is in the field shall die with the sword, and he that is in the city shall die of famine and pestilence. Because, all right, not only that, he's going to be afraid, because the scripture said a man shall desire to go into the city, but shall not be able. And a lot of them are going to be stuck in the city, and they're going to be afraid to leave the inner city of basically being attacked or murdered or injured, all right, by somebody that's in the city, all right. So a lot of these people are going to be, locking themselves within their own house, and they're going to die of a famine, all right. And many of them now in the city are also going to die of pestilence as well, because, all right, these different dead bodies, the trash, all these different things, all right, these things, flow within the air, man, all right. When the body, starts to decompose, you can get sick and die, all right, from the toxins that are releasing from that body, all right. So, a lot of people are going to be, all right, unalive because of the pestilence. It says, shall devour him. It says, but they that escape of them shall escape, and shall be on the mountains like doves, and the valleys, all of them mourning, every one for his iniquity. All hands shall be weak and feeble, and knees shall be weak as water. All right. So yeah, man, basically, all right, just going into, all right, those that are in the field, all right, are going to die, all right, by the sword, all right, and those that are in the city are going to die from famine, all right, and the pestilence, as these scriptures say. All right, let's jump down here to Lamentations 4:9, and it says, they that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. So it's better to die by the sword, because it's a fast and easy death, even though it may be painful for a moment, but it's way better off than going days and being your death being prolonged, and your body just eating itself alive. All right, for these pine away, stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. The hands of the pitiful woman have sodden their children. All right, they were meat in the destruction of their daughters of their people. All right. So basically, let me go here. All right, let's go to the blue letter. All right. This is all right, this is Lamentations chapter 4 verse 9 in the NLT. It says, those killed by the sword are better off than those who die of hunger. Starving they waste away for lack of food from the fields. Verse 10. All right, tender-hearted women have cooked their own children. They have eaten them to survive the siege. All right, and another siege, another flood is coming, which is Esau, Edom. It says the enemy shall come in like a flood. All right, that flood is going to be Esau, Edom, and his troops. All right, hauling Jacob, as well as ravishing women and children. All right, not regarding the old nor the young. All right, so these things are definitely coming, all right, to the shores of America, and that's what's, all right, what the Lord has in store as judgment for this place, man. All right, let's go here to I'm gonna end it out on here. All right, this is 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 26. And as the king of Israel was passing by unto the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, Help, my lord, O king. And he said, If the Lord do not help thee, whence shall I help thee? So if the Lord's not on your side, there's not even nothing that we can do to help you, man. You know, if the Lord has it within his mind to have his judgment be upon you and you to suffer, there's absolutely nothing that you can do. As the scriptures say, that, there's none that can deliver you out of the Lord's hand. All right. And if the Lord has it set for you to be, all right, punished in that day, all right, for, for not going, calling upon him and hearing his word, then there's nothing that, any man can do. All right. That's why we must seek the Lord now in our grace period. All right. While the evil days come not. All right. We in the cool of the day right now. All right. Even though these judgments are all falling out, fairly quickly. All right. We can see in the news and different things, but the doors of mercy are definitely still open. All right. And it says, verse 26 again, and the king of Israel was passing by unto the wall, where cried a woman unto him, saying, Help, my lord, O king. And he said, If the Lord do not help thee, whence shall I help thee? Out of the barnful, or out of the winepress? And the king said unto her, What aileth thee? And the woman answered, This woman said unto me, Give thy son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son and did eat him. And I said unto her on the next day, Give thy son, and that we may eat him. And she have hid her son. You see? So that's how cold it's going to be out here, to where people, all right, are going to be eating their children, man. All right. It says, and it came to pass when the king heard the words of the woman, that he rented his clothes. He was like, oh, he just couldn't imagine that, man. All right. Eating your own child. Having to think that it's going to get that bad to where you're going to have to sacrifice your child and eat them just to survive. Crazy word, man. And on that movie, The Road. Man. All right, when they went into that house and that dude had a full fucking freezer of meat. And then this dude had a whole, he had a whole bunch of people in his basement, or his underground. He had some type of underground or hidden door where people was down there waiting to be eaten, man. That's real life. That's gonna happen here. All right, those times are coming here. And he passed upon the wall, and the people looked, and behold, he had sackcloth within his flesh. But yeah, all right. So yeah, man, people are gonna be having no mercy on each other, man. All right. And I think I mentioned this before, but earlier. But this guy again, what is it? Alex Jones. He said, man, if it comes down to it, all right, where I have to eat, my family has to eat, I'm willing to go into my neighbor's house and do what I have to do and eat him if so be it. All right. Not to mention that, all right, you have, these different food chains which already have these type of mystery meats to where people already have, all right, the taste of what human flesh tastes like, man. You know, even where I remember this serial killer, right? He was going around and some of the victims that he killed, he grinded them up into some meat and he sold it to people, man. You know, so a lot of people don't know it, but they already been eating. You know, they already been eating. They already been committing cannibalism. You know, so when this thing fully comes into motion, you know, it's gonna be, you know, nothing for them to be able to go ahead and do that, man. You know, but that's pretty much the lesson, and that's, you know, what we're heading towards. All right, and it's just something to consider. All right, that, all right, these things are going to be happening in the world, and greater more evils too. You know, some very dark and evil times are coming. All right, so where people are going to be eating any and everything that they possibly can. All right, so with that, just Lord willing, all right, this video was edifying. Again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Akakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations and blessings to the Akim that do this work in truth and sincerity. Until the next time, Lord willing, I say Shalom.